we like to live in a story that we don't want to end. So often when a person becomes connected, you're both, prominent content creators, people will follow you for the rest of their lives because you have provided them with an experience they simply don't want to replace or end, because you have your unique value that there is no other Dr. Ryan, there is no Adam Lane Smith. When I was working with Jordan Peterson, there is no other Jordan Peterson, and they can do whatever they want. You guys can write a book and sing a song and people will still buy that, even if it's full of pictures, right? It's basically going to be the experience you've already provided. And men especially have this concept of loyalty and honor and whatnot that, plays in different parts in different societies to different degrees of importance. But nonetheless, living a good life with a committed partner, one that you can be proud of and reflect on, as opposed to kind of discard as soon as, she can no longer bear your children and your obligations to your prior children have been satisfied, that also has its own value. And that value is not extrinsic to us. It is internal to the way that we see ourselves, because that's the basis upon which men respect themselves. Do you think that's something that plays out in the decision-making process at all, Dr. Ryan, or is it something that's maybe different?
No, it's certainly true. A long time ago, I made an episode on my channel. It was one of my first. That was called Everyone is Unique and Everyone is Replaceable. And both of those two things are true at the same time, and that's true of everyone. It's like, yes, if I were to stop making content today, there would be somebody else who might represent traditional psychology to come in and speak to these issues about relationships. But that person is not going to have my certain je ne sais quoi, or my way of being, right? And so one of the best ways to guard your own replaceability in any kind of relationship, whether it's personal or professional, is to emphasize your unique idiosyncratic contributions to that relationship. It's like the taste. You can get bolognese at pretty much every Italian restaurant, but there's that one place that makes it with that combination of spices that you just can't get anywhere else. And that's what's going to keep you coming back. And if they go under a new owner, you're going to miss that. It's not going to be the same.
And I'm actually very curious. The red pill community, the one, in its classics definition, the alpha male, 6 feet, 6 figures, 6 pack, 6 whatever else, that is the one thing that actually completely ignore in the way that they approach the world. They tend to say, hey, I'm now a quantifiable number of metrics, and I'm competing in the same metrics with a specific population, and my job was to get to the top. Now, how do you quantify this unique attachment? Because I know a lot of females are obsessed with that. First of all, they see more shades of color than any man ever could. They have a wider range of smells. Like, their attention to uncanny detail is phenomenal. And in many ways, it seems like they use that to bond and also hyper-classify people into very unique categories that are irreplaceable to them.
Yeah, so this is actually a pretty nuanced idea. I have a whole chapter of my book devoted to understanding what sexual marketplace value is. So the first thing I'll say is that a lot of people listen to some of the content online, especially men, and they think, okay, I need the 6 sixes, I need to have a high status job, I need to have the abs, I need to be that leader of men. And some men despair of ever being that because of their height, because of their hair, because of their body type. And they think, well, I could just never be an alpha, right? The issue with thinking that way, I call those things attraction proxies, because they don't actually substitute for attraction. People like to think that they will, but you certainly don't need any of those things to attract high-quality partners into your life. And the danger is that men will think, oh, all I need is X number of dollars. All I need is the 6-pack. And then the women will be lining up. And let me tell you, that's not actually true. It's very difficult to perceive net worth. It's very difficult to perceive character, on site. It's not something that can be assessed by women very quickly, right? So the idea that you need these things and then relationships with women will become effortless for men is a fallacy, okay? Now, let's be real, though. There are, let's say, archetypal standards of beauty in our culture that are probably biologically determined and culturally informed. And so I say that a man or a woman's, the extent to which they approximate the archetypal standards of beauty in their culture, I call their normalized sexual marketplace value. We all know that certain people are more beautiful or attractive than others. And it's absolute lunacy to contend otherwise, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that that conventionally beautiful or attractive person is going to be beautiful or attractive to a specific individual. When we talk about normalized sexual marketplace value, we're talking on a statistical or population level, that in general, women prefer men who are taller. In general, women prefer men who make more money. All those things are true when all other things are controlled and equal, right? But the preferences of any given individual can and do deviate significantly from those cultural norms and expectations. That's why I call that perceived sexual marketplace value, and that's really the determinant as to whether any man is going to be attractive to any given woman. The issue is that exists entirely within the minds of the perceiver. And the perceiver, him or herself, may not be, and generally isn't, fully conscious of the apparatus that determines their level of attraction to any given individual. Like Adam, you talked about earlier that morals or ethics or virtue might be more important for some women than others. That's absolutely true. But in general, that's not a ticket to high attraction. The world would look very different if women slept with virtuous men. Like if that was their primary metric of attraction. Like they could completely change the dynamic of humanity if that were true. But we know that it's not.
If you like this clip, I know you're going to enjoy the full episode. You can watch it right here.